What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Saturday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Perrault. Every single morning, we are here on the BettingPros YouTube channel and also wherever you get your audio podcasts for the Daily Juice, being brought to you by omahasteaks.com/juice. That URL, the customized URL, takes you to omahasteaks.com, where you can subscribe. You get free burgers for life, 10% off your first purchase, and always that 100% money-back guarantee on whatever omahasteaks.com/juice you go and purchase from omahasteaks.com. All right, 3-1 day yesterday. Western Kentucky, man, had a sweep going, and then they just fell apart in the end. Big-time collapse. I took a hedge on the Marquette future. Now, we have a 20-1 ticket. I took a hedge on it. Bet 1.1 units. It's now down to an 18.9 to 1, or just make it 19 to 1 to make it easy. So we gave back a unit there on the Marquette future. Now, some of you guys are trying to do different math, and you're trying to add things together and going, well, Matt, you made 6 bets, so really it's down to ... No. Remember why I made the future bets, okay? These future bets are not going to cash. It's impossible, right? Think about it. Only one champion. I'm doing this to take positions to be able to hedge off of said position. For instance, Oregon plays Creighton today. I am scared to death of the Ducks. 30-1 odds on the Creighton Blue Jays to win it all. You want to hedge that? Don't mind it at all. North Carolina today. Carolina taking on Michigan State. I am petrified of Michigan State and Tom Izzo. The pros are all over Michigan State. The toughness of Izzo in March. Going to be really hard for Carolina. Petrified for that. What else is there that we made some? I'm going to make some bets on this, but how about we'll talk about Texas and Tennessee here in a second. Iowa State and Washington State. Okay. I'm not really all that. I think Iowa State covers that number, but that's in play. Arizona against Dayton. More on that game here in a little bit, right? We have a lot of future tickets riding today. So here's kind of what I'm doing. I'm not going to touch the North Carolina game. That number is light, okay? Carolina minus 3.5 or minus 4, that number's light. I like Carolina. Not going to bet it. We'll just watch it. Tennessee. Well, more on that game here in just one second. The Creighton Blue Jays, absolutely petrified. You want to hedge off that and you want to take Oregon today? I don't mind it. Dana Altman's a wizard. This is a matchup dating back years. Dana Altman's the architect of the Creighton Blue Jay basketball program. He's the founder, essentially. He built what Greg McDermott has turned into an awesome program. But Dana did it first. And they're facing each other. Athletes on Oregon. More athletic. Oregon, longer, more athletic. The Jays, better basketball players overall, better shooters. But man, that number at 6, it's coming down to 5, 4.5 at FanDuel. Petrified, okay? Oregon's the side. I'll tell you right now, Oregon's the side, okay? I think Carolina's the side. I think Oregon's the side. Marquette won. They came back, so now we got a 19-1 bet. So that's how I'm going to do it, okay? When I hedge, I'm going to tell you how much that is now in play for until they lose. We won't hedge. I don't think I'll hedge Marquette in their next game, but let's talk about today. I got 4 bets to give you guys today, all right? So let me do some quick math here real quick before we have Saturday and Sunday to go here on this. And let's see. So on the week, we have to be down, right, for the week? It'd be surprising if we're not. Yes. Okay, so 1.9, 3.9, 2. We're pretty much we're down like a unit, okay, on the week, okay? So very much winning week, very much on pace here, okay? We can absolutely have a winning week, okay? Very possible. Yeah, so we'll see how it plays out. Basically down a unit. Okay. Gonzaga up against a Kansas team that I faded in the first game, took Samford. Samford didn't win, but they covered. Now we have a game in which Gonzaga is favored. It was 3.5. Now it's 4.5. Look, I just don't trust this Kansas team. The last time Kansas was a dog, they were catching 3 points against Cincinnati. They lost by 20. The time before that, they were catching 7.5 against Houston. They lost by 30. Time before that, they were catching 4.5 against Baylor. They lost by 8. Time before that, they were 3.5 point dogs at Texas Tech. They lost by 29. Sensing a theme here, the games they have won, they've been favored. They were favored against Samford. They were favored against BYU. They were favored against Texas. They were favored against Oklahoma. These are the games they've won recently. Now, I get it. You know, this team has had a roller coaster of a ride without McCullers and now Dickinson coming back. I just don't think this KU team's very good. And on the flip side, I got a red-hot team in Gonzaga. Yes, they lost to St. Mary's, but 21 points over McNeese State, 12 points over San Francisco, 13 points over St. Mary's, 18 points at San Francisco again, 13 points at Santa Clara, 21 points at Portland. I know those teams are not KU talent, but I just think this Gonzaga team, they had a hiccup. Yep, they didn't look great. But 4-1 over their last 5 games. St. Mary's is gone. Grand Canyon swept them out. Goodbye. Zags and Mark Few. Huge scalp opportunity. I'm going to lay the 4.5 points. Gonzaga minus 4.5 for 1.1 units coming up here tonight. If you're curious, for KenPom has this as a 2-point win for Gonzaga. Number's a little heavy compared to the KenPom projection, but it was 3.5. Now it's 4.5. I wouldn't play it higher than 5, but I do think Gonzaga going to be too much for Kansas here tonight. Bet number 2. This is not a hedge. All right? I'm going to try to middle this. I would love it for Texas to lose this game to Tennessee. This is Rick Barnes' former team. I'm petrified of this game. Petrified. It's a 5-point win for Tennessee, according to KenPom. Number 6.5. It was 6. Now it's 6.5. Texas dispatched of CSU. We faded them against CSU, and they won 56-44. Plus 2.5, minus 2.5. They covered it with ease. Here I'm riding with Texas up against Tennessee, where this could be a team that maybe I just get them dead wrong. I've had this happen before where I'm on the wrong side, right? Oh, I faded them. I lost. No, I ride them. I lose. Very possible. But if the Volunteers destroy Texas today, that's a good thing for us in the future. It means they're playing really well and Dalton Connect is really stepping up. But I'm really scared of this number being 6.5. I do think the Vols win the game, but I think it's like a 3 or a 4-point win. I think 6.5 is way too heavy. I would love it if Tennessee goes and blows the doors off of Texas. But the Texas offense and the Texas defense both need to be paid attention to. They're 27th in offensive efficiency. They're 36th in defensive efficiency. They are 53rd in offensive effective field goal percentage. They're 116th. They're 76th in defensive effective field goal percentage. They don't guard the 3 all that well, but Tennessee doesn't shoot a ton of threes. They get about 33% of their offense from behind the arc. But if Dalton Connect goes nuclear, he goes nuclear. Tyrese Hunter is the key here, okay? If he goes and has a monster game, again, like he did in the first game for Texas, if he goes off, this offense can really score. 83rd in 3-point percentage, 67th in 2-point percentage. Yes, the Vols defense is right there with their 4th in effective field goal percentage, 3rd in adjusted efficiency defensively. They are 8th in 2-point defense, 29th in 3-point defense. They lock it down. That's great. But I think if the game goes under, I just think Texas is in the game late. And again, the Rick Barnes factor is huge. So it's not a fade on Rick Barnes. It's not a fade in our future. But I do think taking Texas plus 6.5 is a good play here. Tennessee wins. Texas covers for 1.1 unit. 2 more plays. Next play. Let's talk about Dayton. I haven't bet much with Dayton. I probably should bet more with Dayton. I like Dayton a lot. Against Arizona, again, a team we have a future on. This is not a fade on Tennessee. Sorry, on Arizona. So what I think is actually going to happen. I think this number is way too heavy. I don't really understand why it's this heavy. It actually scares me that it's this heavy. 9.5 is a big number. Has Arizona played well enough to justify being 9.5-point favorites against a Dayton team that was down 17 to Nevada and that rallied to win the game outright? Yes, Arizona's defense is good, but adjusted efficiency, Dayton, 21st. Effective field goal percentage, 10th. 3-point percentage, 3rd in the country. 2-point percentage, 52nd in the country. Look, I know Arizona's offense is awesome, but the defense for the Dayton Flyers is not awful either. I don't know. I'm really concerned about Arizona getting beat here by Dayton. I'm going to hope to be wrong and just say Arizona wins, but Dayton covers. Plus 9.5. Dayton, plus 9.5 up against Arizona for 1.1 units. In our fourth and final bet, Iowa State up against Washington State. My gosh, total is 129. Washington State away from home this year is 13-4-1 to the under, including the game against Drake that went under. 9-9 Iowa State at home to a total. 9-8 to the under away from home, but 7 of the last 10 games for Iowa State has gone under. Iowa State went 14-7 to the under this year in the Big 12. Washington State went 13-8-1 to the under in the Pac-12. Washington State went under by 11 in their game against Drake. 31.5 in their game against Colorado in their last 2. Now, 2 of the last 3 games have gone over for Iowa State, but that's because of what Iowa State has scored against South Dakota State and against Baylor, where they scored 76 points against Baylor and 82 points against South Dakota State. I don't think that's going to happen here against Washington State. Washington State gave up 58 points to Colorado, 61 points to Drake, 62 points to Stanford, 74 points to Washington. Like, they have played under. As March has progressed, they're playing unders. I'm going under 129, Iowa State, Washington State. Defensive rock fight coming from a Pac-12, Big 12 matchup. Under 129 for 1.1 units. All right, 4 bets for us going on here. Gonzaga minus 4.5. Texas plus 6.5. Dayton plus 9.5. And under 129 for Washington State and Iowa State. I do lean towards North Carolina minus 3.5 to win and cover that game against Michigan State. I do think the Creighton Blue Jays will win the game against Oregon, but I don't love it. And I don't feel great about it. And I'm really, really scared about that 30-1. At halftime, I very well might try to do the same thing I just did today when I bet Marquette, the Marquette game, and I bet plus 11 on Western Kentucky. Now, they got blown out by 25-plus points in the second half, but I like the play. If the Jays are up or down, depending on where we are here, I very well might come in with a halftime bet. It's the last game of the day, the Creighton Blue Jays up against the Oregon Ducks. Cannot wait to watch it, but I am very concerned about that for sure. But I do think Carolina wins. I think that number is too light. I think they cover that. But 4 plays for us here on a Saturday. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all socials at Sports Talk Matt every morning. Daily Juice Podcast, always being brought to you by OmahaSteaks.com.